Welcome to enVisioning Success, the weekly podcast where Laura Di Benedetto and Julia Becker-Collins share tips, suggestions, and stories to help you succeed in business. We are celebrating the 1-year anniversary of the enVisioning Success podcast, and in today's episode, we explore 5 tips for professionals who are considering hiring accessible but inexperienced marketers for their organization, such as taking advantage of employee training systems and considering the risks of amateur efforts. And now, here's Laura and Julia. Happy anniversary!
Hi there. Today we are talking about a really cool subject and one I guarantee you've thought of. Can my high schooler do my marketing? We'll see. So thanks for tuning in. This is enVisioning Success. Julia Becker-Collins is my lovely co-host, and I am Laura Di Benedetto. We are the fantastic human beings who run Vision, and we are here to help you make a lot of money, make good decisions, and quit being stressed out. Marketing doesn't have to be hard. The show makes it easy. So thanks for tuning in. Make sure that you like, subscribe, follow, share, do all the other stuff that podcasts
reviews.
Yeah, do all the other things that hosts are always talking about. Anyway, today's topic is my high schooler can handle our marketing, right? Not to spoil it for you, but no. We kind of alluded to this in the last episode, but turns out marketing is a real skill. And just because it has a low barrier to entry and anybody can hang their shingle does not mean that anyone can do it well. Because your kid uses Facebook as a consumer does not mean that they have the ability to run it as a marketer. Marketing and consumption are 2 different things. So be patient with this episode because I know you're already thinking, well, screw you. I want to use my high schooler. I don't want to pay the money. Me. Fine. Throw a shoe at me later. But I'm telling you, I'm going to save you money and I'm going to save you time because time is the only thing you cannot make more of.
Mm-hmm.
So before we dive into this, Julia, do you have any amazing stories that you're going to share in this episode?
Oh, well, I can't even tell you how many times I have heard from people, I'm just going to have my high schooler or my college student run my company's marketing because they know more about it than I do. And I don't know a lot about technology. And I've been doing this for 20 years and that has stayed the same the whole 20 years. I have heard it over and over again. And yes, like Laura said, just because your high schooler or college student has a personal Instagram, Facebook, TikTok, whatever account doesn't mean that they know anything about managing it for business, having an online reputation, being the public face of a company, how to deal with negative reviews. We have a past episode just recently about that. What do you do if somebody's mad at you? What if there's a technology program, et cetera, et cetera, et cetera? Managing and dealing with a personal social media account is absolutely not the same thing as managing a business one.
You're absolutely right. So the first point that we're going to walk you through, because we've got our 5 actionable tips. The first one is understanding complexity. Marketing today, good marketing today, actually involves a deep understanding of a lot of different channels, strategy, as I've said, and I will beat that horse till I'm dead, and it's even deader than dead, and analytics that require professional knowledge and experience. There's also a certain been there, done that maturity to an older human being that has lived through life, gone through business, blah, blah, blah. One of the things that I really would like to impart about this is when you have someone who's been in the business space, the space of actually doing business, not just being an employee in charge of your strategy, that lends a certain level of maturity that you will not get with a even talented technician.
Mm-hmm.
So that's something to think about. There, you can have your third cousin's nephew's neighbor do stuff because you want to give the kid a chance. Sure. But what happens when you get a bad review? Are they going to have the grace, the class, and the business acumen to steer that successfully into a 5-star review?
Right.
Probably not. Are you going to know how to handle it when your Google AdWords, you turn it on, tried to set it and forget it, and all of a sudden you're losing money? What will they do then?
Right.
Trust me, low barrier to entry is not a plus.
Just so we're all aware, if you're watching on YouTube, my cat is about to join the podcast.
Cool.
Which is throwing me back to a post that our amazing director of marketing had on LinkedIn about having her cat join a business meeting. And she got some very spicy comments.
Yeah, we're living post-COVID. Y'all need to calm down.
This goes back to last episode where Laura talked about being controversial and not pleasing everyone. We work from home. I love my cat. She's gonna be in the episode.
Hi, Leslie. Hi. She's so cute.
I know. She is so cute.
Hey, listen, I love it. I'm here for it.
I know.
So let's talk about the next point. The next point is value expertise. So professional individuals will bring insights from working across different industries and platforms, offering a strategic perspective that is hard to match in an informal or novice setting. And I'm all about having young people have chances. That's why we have an unbelievable internship program. So we take these young kids that you love and we give them skills and discernment and professional context to actually help them make really good decisions that ultimately can help them grow and be the professionals that you want. So if you want to have your fourth cousin's neighbor's, dog's babysitter do marketing for you, maybe have them apply for an internship with us first so they actually can support you correctly. Oh my gosh. And now Leslie's behind you. That's hilarious. Hi, Leslie.
It's my baby.
Aw. So value expertise, it's, you really need to do that. Like expertise, it's not, marketing is more than just tactics. And I said this in the last episode. And if you haven't listened to it, please do. It was a good one. Expertise makes the difference between wasting money and making money. Expertise makes the difference between a tactician and a strategist. And a strategist tells the tacticians what's to do and supervises their work and the results of their work.
Right. And I think the other part of that is, do you have something you need to say here? No? Okay. So the other part of that is, a certain amount of maturity and experience in the industry helps with staying calm under pressure. It helps with being able to problem solve. And it also helps to deal with technology problems, especially in digital marketing. We have all kinds of technology concerns that can happen. Website hosting can go down. Facebook can go down. We talked about that in a recent episode. How do you manage it? How do you communicate? Really? To your clients? How do you problem solve? How do you turn it into a win? I know this episode's going to be called When Leslie Knope Interrupts Our Entire Episode.
Also known as Julia and Laura being super professional.
I'm super profesh. That's what's happening. I think, Laura raises a great point about internships. I am a huge proponent of internships. If you or somebody that you know is in college or graduate school or is just starting their professional career, I cannot overemphasize having an internship that not only teaches somebody how to do marketing in a real way, but also teaches them how to be at a company, because colleges don't teach you any of that. And our internship, not to toot my own horn or anything, toot, is pretty incredible. And one of the things we teach is about just like everyday business acumen, how to deal with, day-to-day interactions with upper management. We talk about strategy, et cetera. And please, if you or somebody you know is looking for that kind of internship, you can absolutely apply on our website for that.
Yep. Highly encourage that.
And you'll see more of Leslie Knope if you are an intern.
We actually had an all-cat meeting one time. That was kind of funny.
Mm-hmm.
So one of the things about the internships that I really love to just kind of bring up, I started this company when I was 19 years old, and I had to learn a lot of things on my own. I made a lot of mistakes, and I've always had a soft spot for young people because I think college does not prepare young people adequately for actually being out in the field and doing this. And I continue to be proven correct about this because when we get interns at the beginning of the semester, they don't have the level of skill that I believe the college should be giving them. And at the end of it, they all say, with almost no exception, I got more out of this than I did in 4 years of sitting in classrooms. That's right.
Yeah.
Because you actually learn doing it versus hearing about it.
I have a good friend who is the head of marketing for a local private expensive university. And he has said to me multiple times, that college teaches people how to learn, not how to have a job. And people think that it teaches you how to have a job, and it doesn't.
No, it doesn't. So point number 3 is training. So this kind of segues into this real nice. Training really matters. So effective marketing does require up-to-date knowledge of the latest tools and trends, something that professionals continually develop through formal training and experience. This is something that's very important to us at Vision is continuing ed. We are constantly learning new stuff. The one thing I can tell you that I've been saying for years about the marketing field that I hate about it is that it's a moving target. The moment I feel like, yeah, I'm a baller, I know stuff, dun, da, da, here's a new thing you have to learn, a new tool, new algorithm, new blah, blah, who cares?
Yep.
Or there's like a new news cycle that completely throws the world off and whatever, and things completely change and everything you knew before is no longer relevant. Marketing is one of those funny little fields that requires you to pivot.
Pivot!
Pivot!
Pivot! Pivot!
Put in the Ross emoji or the GIF here.
Mm-hmm.
Do that. So it requires you to pivot basically all the time.
Yes.
Marketing is not static. It's not. There's a lot of fields that can be, kind of static, like being an electrician. Yeah, that gradually improves over time. Plumbing gradually improves over time. And yes, there are changes, but they're not, holy shit, grab the desk. Oh my God, I can't take this kind of chaos that marketing is. And you really need someone that is going to be trained on how to manage that and actually get over that, not freak out, stay current with it, and, kill it.
And the other part of that is everyone at the company being trained, or is it just the new people when they onboard?
Oh, yes.
So obviously we have an extensive onboarding process. We've talked about this in past episodes in terms of how to hire and fire and train, et cetera. But in addition to that, we also have ongoing professional development. I just led a session yesterday for a large number of people that work for us about website development project management. And that seems very niche, but as we said in a previous episode, we do a really amazing job with website development and design. And websites are so important to your marketing efforts that it's incredibly helpful to have a refresher, to have the new staff join in, to learn things. I got great questions in the session. We're going to do a follow-up session. So are you having different levels of your company teach other levels? And are you making sure that people at the top are up to date on the marketing trends, on what's changing with the algorithm, on what's happening in the digital space in general? Because unfortunately, oftentimes with lots of different companies, people at the top are not staying on top of the changes. And so then they're making decisions in a silo, and that's not helpful.
Yeah, you're absolutely right. Sometimes they get so caught up with the responsibilities of the job that they, and they're so focused in the job, they stop working on it.
Mm-hmm.
So point number 4 is the risk of amateur efforts. And I'm really glad that we wanted to call this particular point out because this one matters more than you think. When you hire, the neighbor's babysitter's dog's groomer, whatever, blah, blah, blah. I'm going to try to come up with
cousins, brothers, sisters,
ice cream scooper.
Right.
When you hire the person that is really unqualified, there's some real bona fide financial risks involved, and some of them are legally consequential. So inexperienced handling can lead to inconsistent branding.
Mm-hmm.
So your colors could be off, your words could be off, your tone could be off, typos abound, alignment issues, you look very unpolished, very bad. Now, what happens when you actually get a young person, bless their sweet little hearts, stealing images off Google and not actually understanding copyright law? Guess who's on the hook for that? You are. I've had this happen where clients have gotten in trouble. Oh, we used this image and now we're getting sued by Getty Images and I don't understand. And they want like $1,200. Yeah, because that's their image and you didn't pay for it.
Correct.
Just because you can use Google image search does not mean you should.
Mm-hmm.
That's where you go to search to find the thing to buy, not to find the thing to use.
I brought that up in a recent workshop that I led, and you should have seen the eyes bug out of people's heads. Very accomplished business owners. These are not startups. These are not solopreneurs or like a side hustle, people are like, oh my God, all I've been using is images that I copy and paste off of Google. And I'm like, you are going to end up with a problem. I think every episode we have published of this podcast, I have brought up some kind of legal issue that usually blows people's minds. I'll talk about terms and conditions. I'll talk about state law versus federal law. I'll talk about HR, and people are shocked.
Yeah, there's real consequences to this stuff.
There are real consequences, and you need to think about it. You can make your own decisions. You can choose to do that and take the risk, but you should do it fully aware with your eyes wide open.
Absolutely. And unfortunately, when you have an amateur running the show, and unless you've had the pleasure of listening to this episode, you are being exposed to risk, whether you realize it or not. Or in the case of my dear friend, you've lost your Instagram that you had for 12 years because you broke rules that you didn't understand that you actually had to follow, because most people do not read terms of service when they sign up for a software. Nobody reads it. Come on now.
Correct.
They just agree. Well, guess what? We as marketers, we read the damn terms of service. We understand what the rules are because we have to play by the rules. That's how you continue to make money. So amateur mistakes are usually rooted in ignorance, and their results can be catastrophic. And depending on the severity, you could be out a lot of money and you might even lose your business over it.
I was answering a question in a Facebook group that I'm in that somebody asked about Facebook business pages versus personal pages. And I said, just so that you're aware, the terms of service for Facebook doesn't allow you to sell with a personal page. Does that mean you're going to get booted off the first time you do it? No, not at all. But they want you on a business page. And if they find out that you are trying to run a business through a personal page, you can have your whole profile revoked. And in order to have a business page on Facebook, you need to have a personal page. And somebody started to argue with me in the comments. And let me just say, nobody's winning an argument in the comments on social media. So it was a fruitless effort. I was trying to educate. They wanted to start an argument, whatever.
You get to be right. Go with God.
Right. Have fun with that, whatever. And this other person said, but I use my personal page and I sell through it. And I said, that's totally fine, but you should be aware that you're violating the terms of service and you could get banned from the platform. It's your choice. You can do what you want, but you should do it eyes wide open with all of the information.
Right. Just because you haven't gotten in trouble yet doesn't mean that that will always be the case.
Correct. Yet is the key point here.
For a tiny word, it's pretty big.
Mm-hmm. Absolutely.
So the last issue here is investing in your business. Julia, you want to talk about that one?
Absolutely. So we have talked a lot in this episode and previous episodes about resources, that time is your biggest resource. It is the only thing you can't get back. Resources are time, money, and expertise. You can always make more money. You can hire for expertise, but you'll never get your time back. And so when you invest in professional marketing, you're investing in the growth and sustainability of your business, but also you are maintaining your resources. You're keeping your time. You're securing the most valuable resource that you have. And it's not that you are spending on your business. You are investing in your business. Investing really does mean you want to see future growth. And so you have to think about it as an investment in your time, money, and expertise, that it will ensure that your efforts are coordinated and strategic. So when you hire somebody that's really a strategic consultant that's thinking things through, they're not a tactician, they're not only thinking about tasks, you are doing that investment in your future business success rather than thinking short term now and having your high schooler run your Facebook page.
Mm-hmm. Absolutely. Now, I want to wrap this episode up with a few thoughts for you. One, this doesn't mean that your high schooler can't become competent at marketing, but they need training. So that's why internships are so awesome, as we had talked about. College is great. Julia and I both went to college, but there's nothing that beats hands-on experience. Internships, once upon a time, they were regarded as apprenticeships. If you're older than dirt like I am, then you know what an apprenticeship is. It means you learn hands-on and you have a master guiding you to do it correctly, and you're not learning theoretically. So encourage your high schooler or your kid's ice cream scooper or whatever to like actually invest in the education to learn how to do this. Help them start a little small business where maybe they do start off as a tactician, right? But they end up getting the training and they learn from other people. Maybe they get a mentor. So I really believe in young people. I want young people to be successful. I love seeing young people enter the marketing field. It's a great field, sometimes thankless, but it's a great field. And it's very, very interesting. And you really get to make a powerful difference in people's business. And it doesn't mean that young people can't become masters of complexity. It doesn't mean they can't acquire the expertise. It doesn't mean that they can't get the training or that they will always be amateur. That doesn't mean that. And that's not the point of this episode. It's simply to say, recognize that a beginner could be more. And if you want to have the more now, then maybe you should invest in the more now and actually choose a different investment for this young person. Maybe encourage them to apply for that internship or apprenticeship or the training or mentoring or even a course or something like that. There's ways to learn this field. Do not assume that it is easy. That is the main takeaway. Do not assume that it is easy and literally anybody can do it. That is a very expensive assumption. It will cost you dearly in not just lost money, lost time, but also opportunity cost.
Yep.
So I'm excited for the next episode. We like to do things in batches of 4. That's how we record them, but it also keeps us kind of like on a really nice cadence. This arc of 4 has all about busting some myths. And I'm excited to see what the next 4 is going to be. I would actually really love for you guys to weigh in on this. Go to vision-advertising.com, go to the contact page, and ask your question. What do you want me to talk about? What do you want Julia to talk about? How can we help your business grow? This show is for you. I can blah, blah, blah all day long, but at the end of the day, the show is for you. So why don't you tell me what you want to hear, and then we'll build it around what you want. So all of that in mind, did I forget anything, Julia?
I don't think so.
Cool. On that lovely note, this is enVisioning Success. Go to vision-advertising.com when you're looking for a marketing expert that can take the frustration out of marketing and turn it into fun and a hell of a lot of money. We're here to help you grow. We'll see you in the next episode.